everybody, and welcome to Casagrande Chats, a podcast dedicated to the Loud House spin-off series, The Casagrandes. And I'm your host, Sunny, and welcome to episode 3 of Casagrande Chats. So from the last episode, episode 2, there was a lot of stuff I had to cover because I was in school, and a lot of news came out with the Casagrandes and the Loud House. So then there was a lot of other news that came out during that time I was recording, so I thought maybe I could record 2 episodes back to back because something came out during this week that there's a lot to talk about with that, so I couldn't put it in episode 2 because there was just too much to talk about in episode 2 when it came to news, and then it came to talking about the arc, which I'm going to be talking about here in part 2 of the Casagrande story arc reviews. So there is only going to be 2 pieces of news to talk about with Casa News this week, because again, I put a lot of news in the second episode, but with this one, with the news this week, we're going to be talking a lot about a certain thing that came out this week that I'm really, really excited to talk about. So, with further ado, let's get into some Casa News. Now, again, before we get into the Casagrande news, we actually going to talk about the Loud House for a little bit. And again, sadly, we haven't had any news in terms of the main show. There's only been one piece of announcement when it came to the regular show, which is that there's actually going to be a 10th comic coming out next year, which is The Many Faces of Lincoln Loud. And we only have a cover. I believe the person on Twitter, it was Candy Randy's Universe, was the first person who posted on Twitter, and they showed like the cover of the comic, which is basically Lincoln with his other alternate versions of himself, a savvy Warren from the White Hair episode, and like the detective costume he had from the Live Life Loud comic. Like one of the first comics was in that one, was him and Clyde kind of dressed up as detectives. So I'm not really sure what this comic's gonna be about, but the moment I saw this comic, I was like, wow, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looks great. Like, is it like a weird sort of like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse thing where Lincoln is meeting all his alternate versions of himself in like some kind of weird universe where they all meet up or something? I don't know. Because a lot of people were wondering why Linka wasn't on the comic, because again, that's another alternate version of himself. Which, yeah, I would really like to see Linka, if that is the case, that they're trying to do all these alternate versions of Lincoln, because they had the Detective Lincoln, which Detective Lincoln hasn't even been in the show. He's only been in the comics, so I'm wondering why they chose that and not Linka, since Lincoln actually has had an episode in the show. So we don't know what this comic is about. We just figure it's going to be Lincoln-based because it says The Many Faces of Lincoln Loud. So I assume it's another like shortened comic where it's like just a overall just like straightforward story just about Lincoln, because the 9th comic is The Ultimate Hangout, which is basically just another like condensed story where it's like Lincoln is hanging out with his friends because his sisters leave for the day and eventually starts to miss them, which I'm really excited for that one, because you know, the fact that Lincoln sometimes feels like he misses his sisters whenever they go out and do stuff where he's all by himself, it's kind of interesting to think about in terms of the show, because there seems to be times where Lincoln is by himself in the house, so you think about, there are moments where he's thinking about his sisters and like, oh, how much I miss them and stuff. That's really sweet. So I'm very intrigued by those 2 comics. Again, we're getting 10 comics. I can't believe there's 10 comics now, that there's going to be one about Lincoln himself, which I'm really, really excited about, of course. And, you know, in November, we're getting Live La Casa Loud. I'm really, really excited about that one. That's coming close. That's in 2 months. So, yeah, so that's really, I can't really think if there's any other Loud House-related news that has come out during this week. I think it's mostly just been like, we've seen like little like snippets of sneak peeks from some of the cast and crew on working on the show throughout the weeks and months, but we really haven't had any information in terms of the main show, like whenever it's coming back or if it is coming back, because again, we only had 2 episodes this month. So I'm not really sure if they're keeping TLH on hiatus to October when the Casagrandes premieres, but again, the Casagrandes are premiering on Saturdays. Well, actually, I mean, the first 2 episodes of Casagrandes are premiering on a Monday, and that's at 1:30, so what people have guessed upon is that there's going to be a Loud House episode before that that's going to, like, kick into the 2 episodes, which it might be a special, but we don't know that yet, or it could just be two episodes. Like, it's not like a special, like a Loud House special, it's, like, just 2 regular episodes and then, like, a Casagrande episode, yeah. So, yeah, we don't know when the main show will be back, but whenever it does, I'll be here to report about it. And so, getting into the Casagrande news. So the last time I had a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of the Casagrandes. We had the trailer come out, we had the release date, there was all kinds of stuff. But yesterday, because I'm into a lot of other shows, I got back into DuckTales because Darkwing Duck returned, because I absolutely love him. And so Nickelodeon was like, you know, Sunny doesn't really need to be obsessed with one thing at a time. Why don't we release the Casagrande intro theme song on the same day? And so I was coming back from class and checking my Twitter, and I see that something pops up in my feed, which is the Casagrande theme song video. And I was so excited. My heart started racing. I just couldn't believe that they finally released the theme song for the Casagrandes. I've been waiting for this for so long now. I imagine what the intro song would have been like, and this is more than what I've ever imagined. Like, some people were saying, oh, it's probably just going to be like the intro they did for the Arc, which I'm like, yeah, they kind of, but that was mostly just like a little parody of the Loud House intro, where it was like Ronnie introducing her entire family with all their distinct colors and stuff. But this intro is amazing. Like, it is so beautiful to look at. It's gorgeous. The song is incredible. Like, I don't even know where to begin on this. So, looking at my source here on nickalive.blogspot.com, they actually do have an article about the Casagrande theme song and who actually performs the theme song. So according to this, Nickelodeon reveals the Casagrandes theme song performed by pop star Ally Brooke. Nickelodeon revealed today the Casagrandes' main title, an energetic, authentic theme song that celebrates of all the things that make the Casagrandes family, love, humor, and food, performed by pop star Ally Brooke. The song has elements of urban and pop music and an authentic, faceted-up Latin music rhythms, giving it a catchy vibe made for kids and adults alike. Most importantly, the Casagrandes theme song expresses that we are all familia. So Ally Brooke is actually from Fifth Harmony, I believe. Yeah, so she actually performs the song, which is funny because when the theme song opens, Ronnie Ann is actually rapping. Like, the first thing that happens is Ronnie Ann is rapping in the intro, where she's like, I'm in the big city with my big familia, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I was not expecting that. Like, I thought it was just gonna be like the Loud House theme song, where it was like Ronnie Ann was skateboarding through the entire apartment building, see all these people like waving, like, you know how like it is when he's going through his house and crashing through the crowded halls, dotted girls like ping pong balls, and you see all the sisters and everything. But no, they actually wanted to make it very unique compared to the Loud House theme song. And honestly, not gonna lie, I love this way better than the Loud House theme song, because it really emphasizes the theme of family. Like, with the Loud House theme song, yeah, they talk about how family is important and stuff, but it's more based on like, oh, I'm trying to get through all of these sisters of mine, and they're just like crazy and loud, and that's mostly what it's about. It's like, oh, we're a loud family, but that's okay. The theme song for the Casagrandes emphasizes the theme of family, because again, Ronnie Ann talks about like all her family members, they all are present in the theme song, and you know who else is very present in the theme song? Ronnie Ann's city friends from City Slickers. They're alive. They actually are going to be in the show. Okay, so I kind of knew this because some of the cast and crew have kind of hinted that Ronnie Ann's friends, Nikki, Samir, and Casey, were going to actually come back in the show. We kind of had like a little hint from one of the storyboard artists drawing them. But really, that was more just like, oh, maybe they'll come back. We don't actually know. But they're actually featured prominently in the theme song with Ronnie Ann. Like, they have to talk about how they're all one big family. Because like they have a part where they're talking about all their, where Ronnie Ann's talking about all her family members, and they talk about her friends. And her friends are Sid, Samir, Casey, and Nikki. Which is like really crazy to me that Nikki, Samir, and Casey are right next to Sid. Isn't that crazy? Like, just looking at that, I'm just like, oh my god. They're actually all going to be friends. Like, they're all going to be one big group of friends, which is amazing because, like, we all thought when Sid was introduced that Ronnie and City friends were going to be like taken out of the show, like they were retconned. But no, they're actually going to be in it. It's just a relief to me because that means Ronnie has a group of friends now, like Lincoln. But a lot of people like myself have kind of wondered, how is Sid going to meet Ronnie and City friends? Because with City Slickers, like I mentioned before, Ronnie Ann lied to her City friends about where she was from and tried to keep herself a secret from them until the end, where she apologized and said that she's not from the city. Whereas with Sid with Friended, she actually did lie about where she's from, which again makes my theory that Ronnie Ann had met her City friends before Sid, which is again weird because of Ronnie Ann being so excited to make new friends, but Sid, I don't understand why she wouldn't like have any important, why her city friends weren't very significant to her life if Sid was just as important of that than her city friends, but that's mostly just a speculation. you know how the crew's gonna be. They're just gonna retcon it where Sid's kind of known Ronnie and City friends somehow. It's like how I imagine like how Sid knows Lincoln. She just knows him. Like we don't see like Ronnie and talking about Lincoln or any of her City friends to Sid. She's like, yeah, I already know. You just like kind of have to guess about it. It's like how with Lincoln's friends, where like Rusty, for example, was kind of like not his friend or like was a like hand-me-downer in season 1. Then all of a sudden he's like part of his group of friends with Liam, Zach, and Clyde. So I don't know. They just like decided to like, let's not really do any like showing or telling. We'll just like show you that they're there, you know. It's fine. They're there. It's cool. They're all cool. They're all buddies. Which again, it's just crazy to me how again Nikki, Casey, and Samir are with Sid. Like, I just never thought that would ever happen, but the fact that they are there in the intro is so important to me. Because, like, even though Clyde is technically a main character, technically Clyde's a main character. I mean, obviously, when you see all the promotional stuff for the Loud House, the sisters and Clyde is so significant. Bobby's always been kind of significant when it came to advertising, like, but he's not really as big as Clyde, because Clyde is, like, his best friend. But even Clyde's not in the Loud House intro. But the Casagrande intro, everybody's in the Casagrande intro. The Ronnie and City friends, Sid's family, the people living in the apartment building, they're all in the intro, which is amazing to me because, like, it's called the Casagrandes, and you would think because it's the Casagrandes, they wouldn't include so many people in the intro. But I just love how they did that. Like, they actually included so many people in the intro that you never thought would be in the intro. So it seems to me that they are really, like, that all these characters are going to be super duper important when it comes to the spin-off, which I absolutely love. Like, we're going to see more of these people and introduce them more to the world and things like that. The one thing I was kind of hoping for was more like just like a me thing, was kind of seeing maybe a Loud cameo, like maybe seeing Lori or Lincoln in the intro, since again they're kind of important characters when it comes to Bobby and Ronnie Ann. But because they're not in the intro, that's not really a bad thing, you know. I was just kind of wondering, maybe like we would have seen like Bobby texting Lori and like a Lori emoji would have popped up, like as a little like wink wink to the audience. But I'm fine with that with no Louds making a cameo, because obviously, you know, they want to separate from the Loud House, but it is still a Loud House spin-off. So, you know, again, I'm not going to be surprised if we see Lori in the first episode of the Casagrandes with Bobby, because again, she was in the Arc for a little bit. She made a few cameos, or no, she made one cameo, but then Bobby mentioned her. Like, I won't be surprised if like the first episode Bobby mentions Lori again. So yeah. But again, talking about the intro, like the song is so upbeat, it's so beautiful, it's crazy, it's loud, it's wonderful. It's just like I've listened to it like I don't know, like 1,000 times. I just can't get enough of this song. It's so catchy. Like I love listening to it, and just the vibrant colors, like the dancing, like it's just so fun. It's so upbeat, and I love when Ronnie is talking about her family, and then like they'll go to group hug her, and she's just like all squished in between them. It's just so cute to see her talk about how important family is, because again, it's like her character development. She's growing because she's with this family now, like I talked about before. The reason that I kind of love the Casagrandes as a family is that they emphasize how important family is. And with Ronnie Ann being this character who really wasn't like, because it was kind of like grossed out by love and affection and stuff. See that her family's showing her this like love and affection, and really her now embracing that is something that I absolutely love when it comes to her character growth. Like I really just love that. And the fact, again, she not only has Sid, but now she has her city friends. She has this group of friends that she's made. Grown as a character, I absolutely love it. I love how they are just showing that Ronnie Ann is progressing as a character to making friends, embracing her family, and just being a better person now is just awesome. Like, again, I don't know what the show is going to give to me in terms of her character growth, but the fact that they are still doing it in these little hints, whether it be from the arc and for the intro, it's just really, really makes me so happy. Like, I just love seeing her happy. Like, she's so happy. Like, it's just so great to see her smile. It's wonderful. Like, I absolutely love it. It's great. And is that Ronnie Ann's father, Arturo, makes a cameo in the intro. He's actually with Maria and Ronnie Ann in the intro when they open up the apartment building with all the people dancing. Arturo is there next to Ronnie Ann. I was so happy to see that. Again, that means that Arturo is going to be important in the spinoff too. He actually makes physical appearances in the show, probably visiting the family family from time to time and stuff, which I theoried before, but I didn't really know that was going to happen. But the fact that he's actually in the intro too is absolutely wonderful. Like, again, they really just put a lot of people in this intro, like, not just the Casagrandes, but again, Sid's family, like Adelaide and her parents, and of course Roddy and City friends, and all of these city folks that have kind of appeared in the show, and they're actually in the intro too, and the same people who actually like live in the apartment building from Roof for Improvement are actually appearing in the intro too. So I'm trying to see what else to talk about with the intro. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, I just love looking at it. All the vibrant colors, everything about it is gorgeous. Like, I just love it. It's beautiful. Like, I started tearing up the moment I watched this intro. It's just so beautiful. Like, I just can't believe that, like, looking at the picture of all the characters together in this big group picture, I just can't believe that all these characters are together. Like, again, Roddy and City friends, Nikki, Casey, and Samir are right near where Sid is. Like, I just can't believe that's actually a thing. Like, I'm really excited to see they're actually going to have episodes with all of them together. You know, again, I've been excited for the Casagrandes for a long time, hence why I made this podcast. But the fact that, like, every time I see a new thing when it comes to the Casagrandes, I get more and more excited for the show. Like, I get more and more excited about this than I am with the Loud House. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love Loud House, don't get me wrong. But again, like, I loved Ronnie Yen since day one, and I still love her now. And the fact that she's getting her own spin-off with her family just makes me more and more excited to see what they bring to the table in terms of the spin-off, because I'm so pumped. Like, again, there's supposed to be the panel that's happening this Sunday, or when this comes out, obviously it'll be Sunday. I'm not sure they're gonna reveal any more details in terms of the Casagrande spin-off, because I don't know anybody who's going to the panel. But if you are, again, like I've said like a ton of times, if you can tell me anything, please do. I will probably be stalking Twitter to see if anybody's going, but I'd love to see if they maybe reveal some more stuff about the Casagrande spin-off, if they're going to talk about like any, like, you know, character stuff, any episodes, any more significant things they're going to do, any things like that. Because again, the only thing we kind of know about in terms of the spin-off is the episodes they reveal with the synopsis, and then like the hint of Ronnie and having to babysit a pet snake. So yeah, with the Casagrande theme song, I've watched it so many times. I am so pumped for this show, man. Like, if I wasn't excited before, obviously I've been excited before. If I was excited before, I am super excited now. Like, this was amazing. Like, I absolutely loved it. They were able to make such a beautiful intro to hype this show. Like, I am so excited for this. Like, Casagrande crew, you did a fantastic job with this intro, and I can't wait to see what you do for the spinoff. Like, again, like, seeing this intro, how beautiful it is, I can't wait to see how beautiful the show is. I know it's going to be a fantastic show just from seeing this, so yeah. So yeah, that was all the news that came out while I was recording episode 2, but if something does get revealed, I can't do it during this week because I am going to stay for school, but when I can record the next time I will review anything that comes out in terms of news. That's the only news we have in terms of the Loud House universe when it comes to the main show and the spinoff. So we are going to take a little break, and when we come back, we are going to do part 2 of the Casagrande story arc reviews, which is Face the Music through Lucha Fever.
I'm in a big city with my big familia. Every day here is my favorite dia. One big house in our family store. Food and laughter y mucho amor. Tíos, abuelos, all of my primos. A dog, a parrot, amigos. We're one big family now. Sundays and Mondays, they're all fun days when you're with us. Casagrande. Lucha Fever. Casagrande. Bienvenida. Casagrande. Mucha risa. Casagrande. We're all familia.
Hey everybody, Sunny here. Just a little quick announcement, or a little update as I got to say for the podcast. As I was recording and editing the podcast, a friend of mine had told me that there actually is an extended trailer for the Casagrandes that is premiered on Nickelodeon. So far, nobody has recorded this trailer. I don't know if anybody knows that there's the extended trailer out, but I am telling you right now that there is an extended trailer for the Casagrandes on Nickelodeon. It's just an extended trailer of the first promo we got, with some new scenes from the first 2 episodes episodes of the Casagrandes. I don't remember what happened in the trailer. He showed me a few clips, but I just can't remember what happened in it. I know Ronnie and Sid were doing something, and then they had Carlos and Ronnie together, but so far I've not seen anybody report or record this promo. If you're watching Nickelodeon and you can record this trailer, please do, so everybody knows that there is an extended trailer out there for the Casagrandes. So with that being said, let's get back to our reviews of the Casagrande Arc Part 2.
Hey, it's me, Ronnie Ann. If you like the Louds, come meet my family. My mom, my brother, abuelo, abuela, Tio Carlos, Tia Frida, my cousins Carlota, CJ, Carl, and Carlitos, and our pets Sergio and Lalo. We are the Casagrandes.
And we are back to talk about Part 2 of the Casagrande story arc, which is Face the Music through Lucha Fever. So Face the Music is the episode where Ronnie Ann has to overcome her stage fright, because everybody in her family is performing for Hector's birthday party, and she doesn't know what she wants to do for his birthday. And basically, Ronnie Ann has terrible stage fright because when she was younger, she performed in a play when she was like a little kid and tripped and fell, and some little kid just went, "Timber!" And ever since then, she's had stage fright. So this episode, again, was kind of intriguing to me, Ronnie Ann headcanons, because with the scene where Ronnie Ann is a little kid and she's performing in her play and she gets all upset, I was kind of like, is that when she became a bully? Is that when she became kind of tough and rugged and mean? Was that when she tripped over and got hurt by this kid? Was that when she became the person that she used to be? Because, like, with that, I kind of figured, well, if people are going to make fun of her like that really means she doesn't really know how to trust people. It kind of gives me this feeling that Ronnie Ann has trust issues when it comes to making friends. Hence why Ronnie Ann really didn't have any friends back in Royal Woods except for Lincoln, because Lincoln was the only person that really wanted to be her friend in that time. So she really didn't know how to make friends, and when she, tried to make friends, she really just couldn't trust anybody. Because again, in that moment, she never forgot that moment. When you flash back to it, it's like part of her. It's part of the moment of her being, the moment of her having stage fright, is that she is afraid of people making fun of her or people being like, doing that to her. It's really intriguing to me. Sid is in it for a few, helping Ronnie Ann try to overcome her stage fright, but she's really not having it. And eventually at the end, Ronnie Ann tries to sing, but then she gets scared, but Hector goes to comfort her because the same thing happened to Hector when he performed the play. He fell down too and was hurt. But Hector understands that Ronnie Ann just doesn't have to get over her stage fright. And a lot of people I remember hearing about this was like, well, was it the whole point of the episode for Ronnie Ann to get over her stage fright? Well, yeah, I mean, the episode's called Face the Music, but in the end, do you really have to get over your stage fright in the end? A character doesn't really need to get over something right away in an episode. She tried her best at the end, like she tried to actually start singing, but then she tripped and got embarrassed, and then eventually Hector helped her out by, making her feel better, and she eventually did sing with everybody else. But I feel like Ronnie Ann is not over her stage fright. She doesn't have to be over her stage fright right away. She can continue to try to sing on her own and maybe just be in front of an audience on her own and improve on that. But she doesn't have to be over her stage fright right away. I was kind of upset because I was excited for this episode. I wanted to see if Ronnie Ann would sing, and she only got to sing like 3 lines before she tripped and fell, which I was like, yeah, well, at least I got 3 lines out of her. Yeah, but I did really enjoy this episode because, again, it was a nice little, like, here's some more Ronnie Ann headcanon fuel for you to think about in terms of her character. It's like, oh, she has stage fright because she tripped and fell during her school play. That's really interesting to me. And there's also a blink and you'll miss it moment where Ronnie Ann was in the play. Her father is sitting in the audience. Yeah, I saw that. Like, it took me a couple of watches to see that her father was actually sitting in the audience during her school play. And I'm just like, that makes it even more sad. Her father came to her school play. That's so sad. Yeah, so I enjoyed Face the Music. I think I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it. And then we get to Pranks for the Memories. So Pranks for the Memories is basically a episode where Ronnie Ann is trying to bond with Carlota, and she can't really find ways to bond with her, so eventually Carlota and Ronnie Ann team up to prank their cousins. And I have a lot to say on this episode. I have a lot to say. Not because I like it per se. Oh, Sunny doesn't like a Rodian episode? Shocker. Yeah, surprise, surprise. I actually don't like an episode of Rodian in it. I know I mentioned Room for Improvement, which is the episode I didn't really like in the first part, but that episode is way better than Praise for the Memories, and here's why. Praise for the Memories retcons everything that happened with Rodian's character. Now, the problem with this is that they decided to do where Rodian can't bond with Carlota to the point where she can't even strike up a conversation with her. And this makes no sense to me because Carlota seemed pretty fine with Rodian in Relative Chaos. She seemed like she really wanted to have Rodian around to, dress up and do makeup on and stuff. And they were completely fine and friended. Rodian had Carlota help her out and friended. Why, if all of a sudden Carlota and Rodian can't have a conversation with each other? It makes no sense to me. Rodian was so determined to have Carlota like her because she was like, oh, when I moved to the city, I wanted Carlota to be like a big sister to me. No, you didn't. There was no indication that you wanted Carlota to be like a big sister to you. In Relative Chaos, you were kind of disgusted at the idea of Carlota dressing you up in dresses and makeup and stuff, and saying you with city slickers. You were trying to hide from Carlota. Why are you suddenly realizing that you want Carlota to be like a big sister to you? You never thought this. You never realized this. You never had the idea of that. Unless, again, it was another thing that was hinted at off screen, but I don't believe for 1 second that Rodian wanted Carlota to be like a big sister to her. I do like the idea of Carlota being like a big sister to Rodian, but I wish there was more of an implication of that rather than Rodian stating it without any real true evidence to it. But again, with the Loud House, the continuity is always wacky in this. But the arc has continuity. The arc has continued to have continuity in this arc, and so with Rodian saying that she wanted Carlota to be like a big sister to her because with Sid, she has this bird that she can't get along with. Like that little symbol of them having that connection. But with that, I just really didn't believe that Rodian really wanted Carlota to be a big sister to her. And again, the fact that Carlota just couldn't have a conversation with Rodian, just couldn't agree on bonding with stuff. It was really upsetting to me that I was so excited for Pranks for the Memories. I really wanted to see Carlota and Rodian bond because I really did like the idea of them having this bond. But this episode really made their relationship seem kind of bland. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought it would, except for the end where, Rodian is telling Carlota that she, looks up to her and stuff, and Carlota's like, yeah, you're so cool and stuff, and it's really nice and stuff, but the whole episode is just really just boring. There's nothing really much to their relationship. I kind of wish that they actually get in their episodes so we actually see more interesting stuff with them, and not just them just going back and forth about liking certain things and just not bonding and stuff. It's kind of interesting to me that Rodian would want Carlota to like her because to me Rodian still has that feeling of she really doesn't know how to talk to people and make friends. I did mention in Friended, Sid, Rodian was very open to Sid and really just loved talking to her and stuff. But I still feel like Rodian does have that fear of having social anxiety, when it comes to talking to people. Because even when she talks to Sid, Rodian is just kind of when Rodian first sees Sid seeing her do her skateboarding trick, she's like, oh, well, I guess I hope I didn't goof it up or something. She's kind of nervous at first, but then she kind of warms up to Sid in the end. Which, again, I still think that when Rodian only had Lincoln as her friend, because Lincoln opened up to her more and was really around her a lot, and she really was more comfortable talking to him. Because, in Last Thanksgiving, for example, she's really only hanging out with Lincoln. She never really, talks to any of his sisters or really stands next to any of his sisters, except for, in the crowd shot, his sisters are kind of, near her. But she really only hangs out with Lincoln because she feels comfortable around him. I think she's still scared to talk to his family because she really doesn't know how to talk to them. The only time she's really had interactions with his sisters was either Lori or Rowan in April Fool's Rules. And the other time she's never really, talked to any of his sisters, so I feel like she's more comfortable around the people she can talk to rather than people that she hasn't really talked to. So since Carlota is basically ignoring her, she feels like she can't talk to her, which is kind of sad to me. I just don't really like that implication that Carlota and Rodian just can't have a nice conversation with each other. I mean, eventually at the end they do start warming up to each other and bond, but it's just kind of sad to think about that Rodian just can't get along with one of her cousins like this. With this episode too, there's one other thing I have a problem with this episode. Bobby. Bobby. Why did you wait, like, I don't know, like a couple of years when you moved when you moved to this big city with your cousins to get revenge on your sister for pranking you? And again with that, I always headcanon that Ronnie Ann never did pranks on her brother or even her mother because they're her family and she really cares about her family. But nope, this episode was like, yeah, she pranks everybody. And yeah, she pranks her brother. Yeah, she does that. She doesn't prank her, it's fine. I'm just like, I really didn't like that, honestly. And the fact that he teamed up with the boys to do this to get revenge on his sister for pranking him for the years. I did not like that. I absolutely did not like that because first of all, Bobby, why did you wait for this long to get revenge on your sister? That makes no sense to me. And two, again, why did you do this? Like, I don't understand why Bobby felt the need to team up with the boys to prank Carlota and Ronnie Ann because he was mad at his sister for pranking him throughout the years. I don't understand that. It was just a weird motive for him. I felt like maybe they just needed Bobby in the episode. They needed to give a reason why, and that was the reason. I did not like it. I did not like Bobby doing this to Ronnie Ann. And again, it's more like, well, Ronnie Ann pranked him, so he should prank her back. Yeah, sure, but I also don't like Ronnie Ann pranking your brother. I don't like that implication. But again, they are siblings. People are going to say, well, they're siblings. They do that. I know they're siblings, but I just don't like that. I really don't. And, and another thing. When Carlota is talking to Ronnie Ann, and she finds out that Carl, CJ, and Carlitos are pranking Carlota, well, back in Royal Woods, I was a pretty legendary pranker. One, Luann is eternally screaming, but from the main show. And two, not really. You weren't really a legendary pranker. And if you're talking about legendary, you were mostly known as a bully. You were not really legendary. Like, you were really not well known to be a prankster. You pranked the one friend that you actually made in Royal Woods. How is that something you're supposed to... I don't understand why Ronnie is proud to be a prankster. I don't really like that, too. Because, to me... Yeah, Ronnie Ann can like pranks, but I feel like her saying that she was a legendary pranker back in Royal Woods implies that she is proud of herself back when she used to be a bully. And I don't really like that either. Because again, she only pranked one person. She only pranked one person in the school, and that was her now best friend, Lincoln. So I don't know why she's proud of this. Like, was that really her true accomplishment? Is that she pranked the one person she actually made friends with? Because you made him upset. You made him mad. Like, you were not going to be friends with him at all until, like, you apologize for the end of Heavy Metal. But they really just, it has those really weird implications and that make me question why Ronnie Ann would be proud of that. I really don't think she should be proud of being a legendary pranker, because again, you're not. Luann is. Luann has done more pranks than you have. You only pranked one person. Luann has pranked her entire family for 3 episodes for 3 seasons. She is more of a legendary pranker than you are. I'm sorry, Ronnie, and you can't have that title, girl. I know it's supposed to be like, oh, well, she's just saying that, and she is, but saying that implies some undertones that don't make any sense in terms of her character development. But again, people are going to say, well, she likes pranking. I know she likes pranking. I know she does. It's part of her character. But the pranking she used to do was not good. She picked on her now best friend at a time where she wasn't his friend. So I don't see how that is a problem. It's kind of like the episode White Hair. A lot of people know that I don't like the episode White Hair, and I'm saying it on my podcast, where Lincoln talks about how the last time that he got girl advice, he got hit with a black eye and they cut back to Heavy Metal, which to me shows some undertones about how he still feels about Ronnie Ann during that time. Like, it really just means that there's something in those undertones that make no sense. That's why Pranks is probably my least favorite episode of the entire arc now. I'm saying it's my least favorite because of just all of those implications, all of these weird things that happen in the episode, how boring the episode is, the relationship between Ronnie Ann and Carlota isn't really engaging till the end, Bobby's plan makes no sense, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I know a lot of people are probably going to tell me, like, there's some reason to that. If you like the episode, not a problem. I'm glad you like the episode. There are some things I do like about it, like Ronnie and Carlota being together. I agree. I absolutely love that. But everything else there, it makes no sense to me. I really just don't think this episode really just hit the nail in terms of what I have thought about in terms of Rania's character and any other things that she's had, any of her relationships and stuff that really just like flushed down the toilet. So yeah, Pranks is definitely not a good episode. I would give it like a 4 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. I'll say 5. I'll give the 5 out of 10. I'll be reasonable to it, but there is a lot of problems I have with it. And then we have Store Wars, which is the episode where a huge supermarket comes into town and everybody starts going to the supermarket, and Bobby thinks that if everybody's going to the store now, that their store will be closed. So Bobby gets everybody to get the Mercado to stay up, and eventually like Bobby tries to do it on his own and tries to get everybody to stay up with him, but it really doesn't work out and stuff. So this episode is very interesting to me because they switch it up. This is not a Rania-based episode. This is a Bobby-based episode. This is from Bobby's perspective, which is very interesting to me because I've always wondered what it would have been like to have an episode about Bobby. Because with Bobby, he's always been with Lori. Like, we really haven't had much about Bobby, what he's like or anything. It's just mainly that he's involved with Lori. So now we have to get to see Bobby in a more important role as kind of like a leader, where he's trying to have his family keep the Mercado safe from, closing because of this big supermarket opening up. I really like seeing Bobby in charge. Like, I really like seeing Bobby take on this leader role. Because again, what we've seen of Bobby, he's very klutzy, he's very clumsy, he's just very like a scatterbrain and all this stuff. Like, he's really just a goofball. But then he can actually take charge for once and actually be responsible and be a very engaging main character. Like, I really like seeing Rania in a supporting role when she and Bobby are going to the store, and Rania is just like, it's okay, the Mercado is fine, it's not going to close down. Because in the end, Bobby realizes that it is a family store. It is a store that brings everybody together in the city, because a lot of the city folk come into the store expecting things that the other stores don't have, so it's really nice and stuff. Like, it's a very simple episode. I really like seeing all the Casagrandes when they're like, sleep deprived. Like, Carlos gets all pissy when he's sleep deprived, and just seeing them all like really just grouchy and stuff. It's really funny. Like, all of the bags under their eyes are animated really funny. So yeah, but it's not really like a really engaging episode, but I just absolutely love seeing Bobby just being a main character role. I would really like to see more from Bobby, because again, we don't really know much about him in terms of his character, how he is outside of Lori, because again, the only really implications we had with him is just that he's Lori's boyfriend and nothing else. So now that we get to see more of him in a main character role and just what we can do with his character will be super great. He does mention Lori in the episode where he says, oh, Lori cuts my hair, which is kind of weird because, like, do you just grow your hair out and wait for Lori to come visit you and to cut your hair? Like, do you wait for that, or do you actually get a haircut, Bobby? I'm very confused by that. But yeah, it was a good episode. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 too. I really enjoyed it. Like, I really liked seeing another ensemble episode, just with all of them together working to keep the store from closing down with the new store. But it's nice to see that in the end, that shouldn't matter. All that matters is that it's a really nice family store, and they can operate their way without caring if other stores get them out of business. And the last episode is Lucha Fever, which is where Rania wants to watch her favorite wrestler on TV, but then her family has to do this thing, so Rania pretends to be sick to stay home and watch the wrestling match. So they actually kept Rania liking wrestling, because it was implied in the episode back out there from season 2, where Clyde has said Rania's favorite wrestlers are Pain and Suffering. So it's really nice to see that Rania actually still likes wrestling. And they also continue it from No Show, where No Show, the next telenovela to come out after Ana Renalda, was a wrestling one. So this was nice to see that. Obviously, I don't think it's the same wrestler. So Rania actually fakes sick to stay home, which I really liked. Rania putting on this makeup and putting her hair down and trying to show that she's faking sick. And when she's home, Rosa gets all the people who have the apartment building to check up on Rania, and all the funny ways that Rania is trying to get these people out. Like, she pretends to throw up and like gets Sid to like distract one of the people to leave and stuff like that. But eventually at the end of the episode, Rosa comes back. She's gonna miss Carlos's award ceremony, and Rania feels bad about that because Rosa has never missed anything that Carlos has done. And then in the end, Rania apologizes because she felt bad for keeping Rosa away from Carlos's award ceremony. What I like about this episode is that Rosa actually gets mad at Rania for doing this. There's been a few times in the arc, which a lot of people have stated, that Rania really just hasn't gotten, like she hasn't really gotten punished or upset. No one's really been upset with her when she apologizes. When she apologizes, everybody's been like, it's alright, it's fine, it's okay. Like in No Show, they're like, like, oh, it's okay that you didn't like the show or whatever. Whereas Rosa here is like, I'm very disappointed in you, Ronnie. I'm very upset that you kept me away from Carlos's award ceremony. Yeah, you should be upset. You know, Ronnie, and you did that. Rosa wanted to go to this very important awards show that their entire family is there for, and she couldn't because you faked sick. Like, yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself, honestly. So Ronnie is really sorry about that, but Rosa is very upset at her. But then eventually Ronnie does get Rosa to the award show, which, how does Ronnie carry Rosa on her back is the question I've been wondering ever since that episode came out. How strong is Ronnie How can she carry Rosa on her back? Unless Rosa is very light, but I don't believe that for 1 second that Ronnie can carry Rosa on her back. Ronnie is small, she's short, she's skinny. Rosa is tall. Like, how can Ronnie carry Rosa on her back is the question that I'm wondering for this episode. Ronnie has superpowers, apparently. I don't know. It's so weird. But yeah. Eventually they do get to the award ceremony, and then Ronnie finds out that Carlos actually was waiting to watch the wrestling match too, because he is a fan of the same wrestler as her. So this episode was very good, because I really liked how Ronnie, again, apologized for her actions, and Rosa got upset at her for doing that, because, again, we've always seen, like, that when Ronnie apologized, they're like, it's fine, whatever, whereas Rosa was like, yeah, I'm very disappointed in you, Ronnie, and you should not have done that. Yeah, she should not have done that. I did really like Sid helping Ronnie, and again, this episode, trying to see what else about it. Again, not much happened in the episode again. It was just more like Ronnie trying to stop people from stopping her to watch the wrestling match. But again, in the end, the episode, she goes to Carlos's award ceremony and everything's fine in the end. So I give Lucha Fever a 7 out of 10 too. I did enjoy it, but again, not much happened in the episode either. So that was part 2 of the Casagrande story arc, which again, part 1 is in episode 2, so you can go back and listen to that if you haven't listened to part 1. So yeah, that's my reviews of the Casagrande story arc. There's no TLH news, and there's no Casagrande news, and there's no new episodes coming out of TLH, and there's no new episode of the Casagrande till October. So I'm probably going to be on a little hiatus for this show until October. If anything does come out, like maybe there's a sneak peek of a new episode or something comes out, I might be back to record a new episode if anything comes out with that. But as of right now, I'm going to put the show on hiatus until October when the Casagrandes do premiere. But if anything does come out, I will review something. But as of right now, I don't have any plans right now. Like I mentioned before, I did want to review episodes with Roddy and Bobby from the Loud House, but I'm not going to do that right now because obviously in October the Casagrandes does premiere, and it is September, so it's going to be like a little bit until October is here. So and of course I do have school, so I'd like to take a little hiatus for school. So as of right now, the show is on hiatus until the Casagrandes premieres in October, or if there's a sneak peek of the Casagrande episodes, I will be back to review that as like a mini episode. So thank you all for listening to episode 3 of Casagrande Chats. As always, if you have any feedback for the show, you can contact me at xsunnyeclipse on Twitter or Casagrande Chats on Twitter, and we'll see you all next time.